Hi, I'm Jodie. I'm a facial massage and skincare therapist based in London. It's Christmas Eve. All the kids are out, so I thought I'd jump on and film a quick video about rosacea triggers, because it's Christmas and generally over these festive period we tend to consume a lot of things that trigger our rosacea. So if that sounds good to you, stick around and we're going to deep dive into that today. I think it's important to say that it's really overwhelming when you are constantly getting flushing, and it's quite visible depending on where you are, what the lighting's like. I personally don't really care what people think, but I know there are a lot of people out there that do, and that's absolutely fine and understandable. And of course you want to find ways to limit or stop those triggers, because it can be really embarrassing. And there are ways in which you can do this. Keep a food diary is the first thing I would say. You could just get like a little notepad, the smallest little pad you could even keep in your pocket or in your bag, or just somewhere near that you can just quickly whack it out and just make a note of whatever it is that you're eating that's made your face react. Because you could be eating a dish with a few ingredients in and you get a reaction, but what ingredient was it that triggered your rosacea? What was it in the drink that triggered your rosacea? So it's important to note down pretty much every time that you're having a reaction, so you can eliminate whatever ingredient is, and then you can cut it out of your diet if you want to going forward. So it really is crucial first step, and it will make you feel so much better about the situation, and it will give you more power over your rosacea. Let's take a look at the most common triggers just to see why they trigger us. Let's start with alcohol. It causes something which I'll probably say quite a lot in this video, vasodilation. It's when your blood vessels dilate and the blood rushes to the surface of the skin, so it causes flushing. Red wine is the one that you'll hear the most. It definitely triggers my rosacea. It's because it's rich in histamine. Gin and tonic was another thing that was affecting my rosacea. I realised, as well as the alcohol content and the sugar, it was the citrus from the lemons that I was squeezing in there that was triggering a rosacea flare-up as well, which we can dive into a bit later. That's why a food diary is so crucial, because you can write down which red wines. Maybe there's one brand that's more triggering than another. Maybe there is white wine that's triggering. Some Proseccos can be a bit triggering. And if you don't drink, then great for you. You don't have to worry about this. However, non-alcoholic drinks also do contain some sugar, and it is known for some people to have a bit of a rosacea flare-up from if something's high in sugar. I don't think it's as common. For me, sometimes I do have a flare-up when I've had a sugary drink or a sugary treat, but it has to be really sugary, as though it's a synthetic E number or something in there, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, so that's alcohol. Hot drinks. Now, I think with hot drinks, lots of people mention coffee. To be honest, I think it's more to do with the hot temperature of the drink causing the vasodilation, the dilating of the blood vessels in the face, especially if you're drinking it like this and it's very hot. I can sometimes get rosacea flushes from drinking tea or coffee, it doesn't matter. Now, caffeine can be a vasoconstrictor, which is something that closes the blood vessels. That also, on the other hand, could be anti-inflammatory. So I don't necessarily think it's the coffee. I think it's the hot drink. There's a brand called Exhale, if you want to check that out. It's quite expensive, but it has lots of polyphenols in it and it's meant to be really healthy for you. So, spicy food. Now, I love chili. It's my favourite food. I love curry, I love chilies. I used to carry chilies in my bag whenever I went out, just in case I needed to spice up some food. I really loved wrapping cheese around chili and just eating it. It was so amazing. And the sweat, the heat that rises in your face, I used to love it, but it's the worst thing possible. And actually, if I have curry 2 nights in a row, or chili 2 nights or 3 nights in a row, I actually get very, very sore. My cheeks are so red and sore, and actually I notice my skin is not good after that. I also get some rosacea spots as well. So I really do have to limit, sadly, the amount of chili I eat. I don't not eat it. We'll get onto that later, but my whole philosophy is not to cut things out. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you like, but me personally, You know, I still want to have fun. I want to eat chili. I want to drink hot drinks. These are all things that I really love. And I just try and limit the times that I'm having those things. And there are things you can do, you know, to counteract those reactions. For example, if I'm eating a curry, I'll make sure I drink a pint of water. I think drinking water, to be honest, as much as possible, it can be really helpful during these triggering times. But yeah, chili is a tricky one. It actually has a natural chemical called capsicum in there, which you may have heard of before, and that actually triggers pain receptors in the skin. Hence why then we go red. Chocolate, citrus and tomatoes, all three things I love, and they all contain something called cinnamaldehyde. I had to look that up. And it's also found in tomatoes, citrus and chocolate. So I have to limit the amount of times I have cinnamon, which is sad because I do love cinnamon. You know, I mentioned earlier where it's not necessarily always the sugar, it could be the artificial sweetener in the cupcake or whatever that triggers the reaction. That's really interesting. And also I think that would be a good one to keep a food diary on, because there's so many ingredients in these cakes and muffins and sweet treats and things like that to keep an eye on and to tally and eliminate and all that. So keeping a food diary would be really helpful for that. And lastly, my favourite thing of all time is cheese. I used to work in a cheese shop, and the main perk of the job was that we got 40% off all the cheese. So I really lapped that up. I was buying, I mean, I'm not talking a couple of slices of cheese. I'm having like a 3 cheese board a week, me and my partner, with like chutney and crackers, and my face was so red after. It all depends on what kind of cheese that you're eating, but if I ate Stilton or cheddars, parmesan, anything that's aged, those are the things that trigger your rosacea. Soft cheeses aren't as bad. They're not aged for as long. The aged cheeses, they are higher in histamine, so that's why they trigger us, sadly. So now we've looked at the common triggers and some of my triggers and why, I think we should just have a quick look at a few of the things that we could possibly be doing to really damage our skin in the long term. Vascular damage. If we're consistently flushing, we're dilating all the time and we're just damaging our capillaries, we're going to increase redness and increase inflammation. Water loss and dryness. Over time, we can't maintain the water, so it will lead to dryness and flakiness. The more we're letting it flush, the more damage we're doing to our skin in the long run. Let's talk about what we could possibly do to get around these problems and to help ourselves. The more you know your skin, the more you keep that food diary, the more you'll understand what kind of foods you need to avoid, when you can eat them, or how much of them that you can eat. Knowledge is power in this case, it really is, and keeping that food diary is going to be a lifesaver, because you think that you're going to remember, but you're not going to remember, trust me. Especially if you've got mental load going on, family life, work, you're just not going to remember. So write it in a diary, and you can check back and date it as well, so you can keep a tally of like when exactly it was. Now I know my skin well. I know that I can have a curry and be okay, and I can limit the amount of chili I have that doesn't necessarily trigger my personal redness. I know that I can have like half a chili and it's not going to be so bad, and I can drink a couple of pints of water to counteract and bring my body temperature down. Same when I'm having a good drink. I definitely drink. You know, it's Christmas, I'm going to have a drink later. I will make sure I drink a pint of water, and then I think, what else am I eating with this? You know, is this a bit too much for my skin? And you just have to be mindful. Don't cause yourself to be stressed over all these things. Just try and be mindful, and don't give yourself a hard time if you forget and you have a really bad trigger. I know it can be embarrassing. You know, we can talk about this next time, but there are different products that you can use, you know, to keep on hand. You can take yourself off to the bathroom and apply certain products that will help take the redness down. I know we have talked a lot about food, keeping a diary and knowing your triggers and limiting and avoiding, etc. But I have to mention stress, because I think, you know, stress is a big thing for all of us. We're living in a really stressful time in the world, and people are under a lot of stress financially. We can calm the nervous system down we can start to care about our bodies and our gut and our face and understand that it is all connected. So what we're eating is affecting our gut, and our gut's affecting our face. You know, our nervous system's affected when we're stressed. A good daily healthy diet is also key. I just wanted to tell you some of my favourite foods. I've already discussed it a little bit, but water, eating an avocado every day, matcha, coffee, like a good quality coffee can be good for you. Look into it, do your research. Porridge, I love nuts, fatty fish, eggs, nuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, mackerel, fibre. Look into an anti-inflammatory diet. That's what I try and follow. If your rosacea is really bad and you've got loads of triggers and it's really red all the time, you can take back your life. You don't have to let it drown you. We're all in this together. There are people there that you can talk to. My skin is in the best condition it's been in, I would say, my entire life. Just think of it as an exciting adventure, and I'm sure our skin will thank us for it in the long run. We're going to keep a food diary. We're going to meditate if we can. We're going to at least try. We can breathe. We can take a minute, we can sit down, we can have a cup of tea that's lukewarm and not hot. No, I'm joking, but you can keep that food diary, really learn your skin, become best friends with it, know your triggers, take control of your face, and it will love us for it in the long run. Next week, let's talk about how we can maintain our skin barrier, a healthy skin barrier, through skincare products. Because yeah, if we eat good, and if we look after our bodies and we use good products as well, God, what a combo. That is how we're going to achieve glowing skin. Next week, that's what we'll be talking about. So really hope that you have taken something good away from today's video. I've really enjoyed it. Bye.